Hi guys! Today's video will show you how I color a lively skin in 5 simple steps. Learn the basics and experiment for stylization, from flat color to rendered skin. Let's get you started. I'm using Clip Studio Paint version 5 on my iPad. You can get the app from the App Store, and it comes with 3 months free on iPad, so you can test it out. Alright, so for starters, I have the line art ready, so we'll jump straight to coloring it. First, the base color. I usually choose a desaturated skin color from the upper left part of the color wheel. Then I use this lasso fill tool, link below, to quickly fill in the base color. Just select the entire skin area, and it will fill it in without gaps from line art. If the color bleeds from the line art, I go over with the Erase Along Edge eraser to quickly erase the colors that are outside the line art. This eraser is really helpful, since most of the time you don't have to be too careful with it. You just follow the lines lightly. Once my base color is filled, we're ready for the next stage, light selection. For light, I add a new layer on top and draw a tiny, simple sun where I want the light to come from. It doesn't need to look good, it's just a guide, and you can hide the layer later. From that sun, I draw lines toward the face so I can see where the light would hit: forehead, nose, cheeks, chin. The other side of those shapes is where shadow goes later. Try to think of the body in 3D, cheek as a curve, nose sticking out, chin as a small round form, arms as cylinders. The light sits on the front and shadow on the opposite side. You don't need perfect anatomy, just enough to know where to paint. Once that's clear, we're ready to shade. For shadow color, I don't just darken the skin base. That usually turns muddy or gray. I pick a darker, desaturated color with a hue opposite the skin color on the wheel. Still warm, still skin-like, not flat gray. Then, with the lasso tool, I select the shadow areas on the far side from the sun, under the chin, side of the nose, far cheek, following those 3D shapes from before. Then I make a new layer, set it to multiply, and clip it to the skin base. I fill the selection with a pen. I usually use Milli pen at a large size to block it in fast. After that, I take a blending brush and soften the edges of the shadow. Smudge and push the color a little toward the light side. Stop when you like it. Don't blend until it's mush, unless that's your style. If something still feels too soft, like under the jaw or the nostril, I add a second, smaller shadow pass with a slightly darker color. Small areas only. Quick blend, and we're done with shadows. Now we add life between light and shadow. I pick a bright, warm transition color, often something orangish or peachy, a bit more saturated than the shadow. On a new clipped layer, using an airbrush with low opacity, I brush along the shadow edges, where light meets shadow. This creates a soft band of warmth on the skin. Then I set that layer to overlay. If you compare normal and overlay, overlay tints the skin without killing it underneath. If the colors are too strong, I just lower the layer's opacity. Sometimes I add a touch of more saturated red or pink on the cheeks or nose. Same idea, very light. A little goes a long way. For highlights, the color you pick changes the mood of the whole face. Pink feels soft, cyan feels cooler, purple can feel dreamy. I usually test a few swatches before I commit to one. With the lasso tool again, I select the lit areas following the previous lines. Then I quickly fill in the highlights with a Milli pen. I usually go for screen layer blending mode, but depending on the vibe you want, you may want to go with overlay, for example. Then, if I want a little extra pop, using a color close to white, I add some detailed highlights on a new Glow Dodge layer, and just blend them slightly while keeping some edges sharp. And that's the 5 steps: base color, light guide, multiply shadows, overlay on the edges, highlights. After I'm done with the skin, I polish eyes and mouth on separate layers, iris color, lip tint, little catch lights, and add some details here and there to polish the illustration. But honestly, those steps are enough for a start. If you try this workflow, I'd love to see what you make. Full step-by-step with tool links and screenshots is on Clip Studio Tips, link below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Linda from Scribbling Art. See you in the next one.